What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an EP review to do for you, and I'm going to show it to you right now. This is the new EP from the band Watchtower, entitled Concepts of Math, Book 1. This is released on Prosthetic Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Austin, Texas, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very technical, thrashy, scientific style of progressive metal. Yeah. When it comes to the annals of classic Texas metal, there are many, many great bands to think about and be respectful of. I mean, DRI, Rigor Mortis, Necrovore, SA Slayer, Militia, Dead Horse. The list is ongoing, but one band that I can definitely think of when it comes to classic Texas metal is a band like Watchtower. If anything, for this band's first two full-length albums, 1985's Energetic Disassembly and 1989's Control and Resistance. Both of those albums were far and away ahead of their time and really paved a way for many others to follow on a creative and musical sort of standpoint. Incredible singing, great guitar riffs, awesome drum work, very crystal clear bass. Like I say, I think this is a band that was way ahead of its time, and especially with two releases like that really paved the way for many others to follow. This band has really been, I don't know if I want to say defunct or broken up or whatever the proper term is to use, but we hadn't really heard a lot from this band in the last 15 or so years. The occasional one-off reunion, an occasional song here and there, but it wasn't until last year in which we finally got some brand new material for them in the form of 3 really awesome tracks that were exclusively available to be purchased digitally. And it showed you that this band still had it. This band still had the goods. They still knew how to make really, really awesome music. And now here we are with this very special release entitled Concepts of Math Book 1. I believe this is their first official release in almost 27 years. That's a long-ass time, but hell yeah, it was well worth the wait in waiting for something new from this band. It's 5 tracks, and it clocks in at around 29 minutes in length. And honestly, a lot of which is on this EP is pretty much stuff that you've heard before, stuff that you've heard from last year, stuff that you heard from almost 15 or 16 years ago, even something that's brand new for this year. But hearing it all together in one very special sort of release, and knowing the fact that these guys still have the creative juices flowing to make something so special, it's very, very admirable. And this is something that I've been listening to a ton lately. Ever since I heard it, ever since I was able to acquire a CD of it, and ever since I was able to pre-order a record of it, I have been in love with this release. This is probably my favorite EP release of this whole year. It starts off with the instrumental track M Theory Overture. It's just gallant from the minute you hear those riffs and to the minute you hear everything just gel together, because these guys still know how to create great music. And one thing that really makes this EP pop from the beginning to end is Ron Jarzenbeck's guitar playing. This guy is a guitar genius. He knows how to create incredible riffs delivered with such gallant flow and effort. It is just so wonderful to hear him maintain the guitar playing that he does on this release, especially for later songs like Arguments Against Design, Technology in Action, even the closing track of this EP, Mathematica Calculus, which is the longest track on here at about around almost 10 minutes in length. It's just really an incredible sight to a joy to listen to, so to speak, to hear Ron play the guitar the way that he does, because he wasn't with the band for a long time due to having some sort of an injury to his hand or something like that. But now that the wheels are back rolling for someone like him to play guitar, it really is phenomenal to hear him do the guitar work that he does on here. It's technical, it's smart, it's dashing, it's relentless, it's powerful, and it's just awe-inspiring. I really love this guitar work that's being done on here. The bass work on here is amazing too. It definitely serves as the perfect counterpoint for Ron Jarzombek's guitar playing. I love how crystal clear every bass tone is throughout this record, especially on the track Arguments Against Design. That's probably one of the best utilizations of the bass guitar to be heard throughout this entire release. Just how diligent and powerful this bass guitar sounds. It's very, very wonderful to listen to. I really like the fact that the bass guitar has its own identity and stands out just as much as the riffs that are being presented on here. I really, really love the bass guitar that's being done for all of the tracks on here, especially once again pointing to the newer track of this release, Mathematica Calculus. Just some incredible bass guitar work being done on that track. The drumming on here is incredibly accurate and consistent. I love how this drum sounds. I mean, if you've heard previous Watchtower albums from decades past, you'll be familiar with the Watchtower sort of drum sound. A lot of drum fills, a lot of syncopation, a lot of time signatures and creativity. It's just really, really awesome to hear this guy still be as amazing as a drummer as he was almost 27 years ago. It's really sensational that he can still play the type of drum style this band wants and needs, and it's just amazing sounding. The quick moments sound great. The more mid-tempo sort of jazzy stuff comes in quite well. And once again, going to the closing track of this record, you hear the diversity in the drum performance being done here. Very well paced and very well timed. I love this drum performance a lot. And when it comes to the vocals, of course they got the guy who did vocals for the second album, Control and Resistance, Alan Ticchio, I believe. His vocals are amazing to listen to. I love his vocal range. I love his just the way he belts out the vocals, the way he words out the lyrics. It's just incredible to hear him sound as good and as clear and consistent as he does here. Going back to the song Arguments Against Design, that's probably my favorite vocal performance of his throughout this entire release. He really does show that all this time later, he still has an amazing voice to belt out. Even going to the track The Size of Matter, just some amazing vocal work being done with that particular song. It's just an amazing vocal performance, and overall, the production, the tight-knitness of everything, this is just something that really makes you want to appreciate what a band like Watchtower is all about. So overall, this was 27 years in waiting, and it was absolutely worth waiting for. If you're a fan of classic Texas metal, if you're a fan of progressive metal, this is definitely the band for you the release for you to be checking out. As far as like altogether progressive stuff, this is probably my favorite release of this year. As many would probably know here, progressive stuff doesn't really get talked too much on here, but when it does, it has to be something very dynamic and something important. And something like Concepts of Math Book 1 by Watchtower is that release. This is my favorite EP of 2016, and I'm optimistic to hear more great things from this band soon to come. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this EP and listen to it. I will leave you a link to the portion of the track Mathematica Calculus, which is currently streaming on YouTube, and I will also leave you links to where you can purchase physical copies. I believe it is available as a physical jewel case CD. Very nice and high quality. But check out the CD right here, so you can see all the band members in question. You got lyrics fold out to where you can frame it or post it up or whatever. I think there's a digipack too, and there's also a vinyl version. I believe there were 2 different variants that sold out. There's a 3rd variant. I don't know if that's sold out as well, but get it however you're able to. This is absolutely worth owning. Again, let me show you the EP again. This is Concepts of Math Book 1 by Watchtower. This is released on Prosthetic Records. Mandatory purchasing. And for a score, I'm going to give this a very high 9.5 out of 10. Excellent progressive metal, probably the best progressive thing I've heard in 2016 so far this year. If you've happened to have heard this release, definitely let me know what you think about it and how you feel about it. Are any of you guys into Watchtower? Do any of you guys like classic Texas metal? Definitely let me know. I'm the Cool Dish Review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until the next time, Armijo out.